My father walked out and erased me from his life. Now that his favorite son is facing jail and financial ruin, he's suddenly calling me family again and wants me to save what's left of his legacy. I'm 27. My dad walked out when I was 12. He didn't die. He didn't disappear. He just left. Packed his things one day, kissed my mom on the cheek, told me he loved me, and moved in with another woman 3 towns over. He didn't fight for custody, didn't try to keep in touch. I saw him once more at 15 when he came to sign some school forms. That was it. He never called, never wrote, no birthday messages, no house school, nothing. My mom raised me alone. She worked 2 jobs, got sick for a while, beat cancer, then relapsed when I was 21 and passed away. I handled everything myself, sold her car, cremated her, scattered her ashes alone. I didn't invite him. I didn't even know how to find him, and didn't care to. So imagine my surprise when last month a lawyer emails me. Mr. T is currently hospitalized and has requested to reconnect with his son. He has been diagnosed with a terminal illness. He would like to meet in person. This is not a legal matter at the moment. No action is required on your part. I didn't reply. A week later, I got a call from someone I hadn't spoken to in almost 10 years. A man who used to date my mom, briefly, before she got too sick. He said, "Your dad's not the same man anymore. He's not asking for forgiveness, just 5 minutes. To say what he never did. He's dying." I should have ignored it. I don't know why I didn't. The hospital was 30 minutes from my apartment. I told myself I was just curious. Closure, maybe. He was in bed, thin, gray-haired, hooked up to tubes, but wide awake. I recognized him instantly, and that made me angry. He smiled, that same stupid half-smile I remember from before everything fell apart. "You look like your mother," he said. "That's a good thing." I didn't respond. He talked for a while, about how life had turned on him. His second marriage failed. His son, my half-brother, dropped out of college, ran into some trouble, and now him, heart issues, diabetes, maybe cancer, maybe not, they're still checking. He was vague. Weirdly vague. He didn't apologize, not really. Just said things like, "I thought I was doing the best for everyone. I didn't know how to be a father back then. I wish I could undo it, but I can't." Then he said he wanted to make things right before he died. I asked him why now. He just stared at me, then reached for a folder on the side table and handed it to me. Inside were some legal forms, medical, estate, a few bank statements, and a note with a lawyer's number scribbled on it. "I need someone I trust to handle a few things, if you're willing." I almost laughed. I said, "You trust me?" He nodded. I asked, "Or you ran out of other people to use?" He didn't answer. I walked out, folder in hand, because I wasn't sure if it was better to rip it up or read it. That was a week ago. Since then, I've gotten 3 more calls from the same lawyer. One voicemail said they're looking to transfer temporary custodial authority over certain financial matters for emergency planning. I don't understand half of it, but it sounds like they want me to sign something that would give me control, or at least legal association, with my father's estate, including, apparently, the house he lives in, and maybe more. Why me? Where's the son he raised? Why now? Here's the part that's fucking with me. I looked up his son, my brother. His name came up in a criminal case, drug charges, assault, pending litigation, a mess. And suddenly, I have a theory I can't get out of my head. They're not bringing me back because he's dying. They're bringing me back because he's trying to protect something. Or someone. So yeah, now I'm sitting on a stack of papers I don't understand, a ghost of a father suddenly calling me son, and a really bad feeling in my stomach. Read it? What the hell do I do? Should I sign? Should I burn it all? Or should I start asking questions? It's been almost 2 weeks since I walked out of that hospital room. I didn't throw the folder away. I didn't burn it like I wanted to. I left it sitting on my kitchen counter like a bomb that might go off if I opened it wrong. And then I opened it again. Let me be clear. There's nothing in that folder that explicitly says, "We're trying to screw you over." Everything is dressed in polite legal terms, temporary, voluntary, reversible. But it all circles around one core idea. They want me to become a temporary financial steward of my father's estate. On paper it looks simple. I'd hold power of attorney while he's mentally and physically unfit. I'd help sign off on hospital forms, manage basic finances, oversee the transfer of some assets for legal protection. That phrase comes up a lot. For legal protection. To safeguard property in a time of instability. To reduce the risk of state involvement in case of emergency. That last one stuck with me. I didn't want to ask, but I did. I called the lawyer, same guy who emailed me before. Super polite. Spoke slowly, like I might break. I asked, why me? Why not his other son? There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. Given your half-brother's current legal standing, he said, he's not considered a viable proxy under the guidelines of this process. So I asked, what legal standing? That's when things got interesting. My half-brother, the golden child, the one my dad chose to raise, is currently facing multiple charges. Possession with intent to distribute, Class B felony, assault with a deadly weapon, civil suit for property damage and unpaid debt. He's 19. Apparently he spiraled after high school, dropped out, fell in with the wrong crowd, got arrested twice. My father bailed him out both times. He's due in court again next month, and here's the kicker. If he's convicted and his fines can't be paid, the state has the authority to seize familial assets connected to him, especially if the parent, my father, can be proven to have financially supported or enabled him. Which means, if they can move the assets out of my father's name before that ruling, they might avoid seizure. Hence, me. I didn't want to believe it. I really didn't. So I called my father. I kept it short. Why didn't you tell me about him? He sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. It's complicated. He made mistakes. I'm trying to protect what little we have left. You're not involved in his mess. That's the point. You're clean. Clean. Notice of intent to transfer title of residential property under Emergency Statutory Provision 4C-187. Recipient. Action required. Review and respond within 48 hours. It wasn't just a suggestion anymore. They're pushing this through, with or without me. So here I am again. Read it? That word pissed me off more than anything else. Like I'd been in some backup folder all these years, untouched, waiting to be used. I told him I wouldn't sign anything. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He didn't yell, he didn't beg. He just said, you don't have to decide now, but time's not on our side. If the house goes, everything we built goes with it. Everything we built? I wanted to scream. Then this morning I got an email, marked, time sensitive. My name is about to be on a house I haven't set foot in since I was a child. My family is asking me to protect them from a fire they started. And I don't know if I should put the fire out, or walk away and let it all burn. Let me say this clearly. At no point did my father say, I need you to save me from bankruptcy. But that's exactly what this is. After my last post, I did what most of you suggested. I stopped listening to the emotions and started reading the fine print. I took the paperwork to a friend of a friend who works in estate law. We sat down in her apartment for 3 hours while she explained things, line by line. Turns out this wasn't temporary guardianship. It wasn't even a simple power of attorney. It was a structured asset transfer agreement, drafted in a way that, if signed, would have made me the primary custodian of my father's assets, but also his financial liabilities. And here's where it gets worse. There were no expiration clauses, no built-in reversion, if he recovers, no medical validation required, and most alarming, no living will or official declaration of health condition attached. In short, if you sign this, she said, you own his mess, legally, permanently, and you can't undo it without a full court case. I asked her the big question, what happens if I do nothing? Her answer? His estate goes into risk. If your half-brother is found liable in court, and the house or any asset is still in your father's name, the state can seize or freeze them, unless they've already been transferred to someone with clean records. Which would be you. There it was. It's not about reconnection, it's not about closure, it's a financial firewall. And I'm the brick. So I called the hospital, I asked to speak to the attending physician. The nurse said he'd been moved to a different ward. Stable condition, not terminal. I said, wait, he's not dying? She paused. I'm not allowed to discuss details, but no, he's not under palliative care. I went to see him that evening. He wasn't in bed, he was in the patient lounge, sitting up, eating soup, watching TV. I stood there for maybe a minute before he noticed me. He didn't look surprised. He smiled. Figured you'd come back. I asked him. Why did you lie about being terminal? He shrugged. I said I was sick. And I am. But you weren't going to show up unless I made it serious. You've always been stubborn. I didn't respond. He continued, "You think this is manipulation. Maybe it is. But look around, this family's in pieces. You're the only one who's got their shit together. You could save this, for all of us." I asked him one last thing. "Where's the will?" Silence. Then he looked me straight in the eye. "There isn't one. Not yet." I thought maybe, if you signed, we'd talk about that next. So here's the situation. There is no terminal diagnosis. There is no written will. There is no interest in reconnection beyond utility. I was never being welcomed back as a son. I was being drafted into damage control. And now that I've said no, I just received a letter from the county office. They're challenging my refusal, claiming my silence indicates implied consent to act as interim executor of the estate, because my name is already on one document I never meant to authorize. Yeah, remember that one digital form I clicked out of curiosity? It counted. Let me just say this first. I didn't burn his house down. I didn't ruin him. I didn't even yell. But I ended it. All of it. After my last visit to the hospital, I did what I should have done weeks ago. I hired a lawyer. A real one. We reviewed everything. The so-called temporary agreement, the banking authorization, the estate documents, and most importantly, the lack of any medical or legal legitimacy to what they were pushing me into. Turns out I wasn't crazy, but I was dangerously close to being complicit in something I didn't fully understand. "This is asset shielding," she said. "They're trying to use you to preserve wealth that would otherwise be subject to seizure or settlement. If you sign anything else, you're in." And I already had my foot halfway in the door. We drafted a formal notice of refusal to act as executor and submitted it to the county. We filed a petition to nullify implied consent based on lack of full disclosure and coercive context. We also requested a hold be placed on any further legal transfer attempts using my name or prior digital signature. 3 days later, my lawyer received a call from theirs. They weren't happy. Then came the emails. Not from the lawyer. From my father. "You're making this harder than it needs to be. You're throwing away the only chance this family had to be whole again. Your mother would be ashamed." That last line, that's what broke it. That's when I realized he never saw me. Not really. I was just a means, a tool, a resource. And now that I wasn't useful, I was disposable. Just like when I was 12. I wrote back. "You didn't come to make peace. You came with papers. You didn't want a son. You wanted a shield. And you used my mother's memory like a weapon. Again. We're done." I didn't hear back. But the fallout came anyway. A week later, I got messages from 2 distant relatives. One of them sent me a screenshot from a private Facebook post. It was a picture of my father in his hospital bed, with the caption, "My son refuses to see me. Pray for my soul." I didn't reply. Let him have his narrative. Let him cry for sympathy from the same people he disappeared from for 15 years. I have mine. And here's the best part. The county froze his estate pending review due to suspected financial manipulation and improper asset handling, which means he can't sell the house, he can't shift funds, and his legal problems, now his own, not mine. As for his other son, I don't know what happened with the trial. I don't want to know. It's not mine to carry. What I do know is this. I didn't become what he was. I didn't let guilt, pressure, or shared DNA define my worth. And I'm not sorry. Not even a little. To everyone who told me to walk away, you were right. To those who said family is family no matter what, maybe, but only if they treat you like family first. He didn't. So I left, and this time, for good.